What's poppin', boys? Welcome back to another video. What's it been, a month? Yeah, a month since my last upload. I got a good one for you today. I was looking through some of my previous projects and realized that the ones I thought were the best were the recreations of other songs. The remixes, if you will. Despacito, Big Lasagna, a couple others that aren't on my channel. But since these kinds of songs are the only ones that I'm good at, okay at, acceptable at, I think this will be somewhat of a proper tutorial. Now, you know my channel only handles the most relevant of content, so the song we're going to be working on will only be the most relevant. It's Old Town Road. Okay, I know this is right 2 months too late to the meme, but it's relevant enough for me to get views and funny enough to make this at least somewhat of an entertaining video. So let's begin. Now for some useful instruments. The typical orchestral ensemble works well, but one very important section that really defines this sound is the pitched percussion. The piano, celeste, glockenspiel, orchestral chimes, all of them. Use them at low parts and they'll sound epically dramatic. Also, with the unpitched percussion, just add a snare and a taiko for some basic rhythm, and then add a bunch of random stuff to make it sound more complex than it actually is, like a spectra sound. That tends to get used to a good lot. But anyway, can we get started with the video? Yeah, alright, calm down. First, here's a little map of what we are doing. I drew it here in MS Paint, just so we can sort of visualize it. Why did I color this in a... Why did I make it a rainbow? It's pretty weird. Oh. Guys, I swear. I swear I'm not gay. I'm not gay. The blank canvas. So much opportunity. But I actually already created the song, so we don't need this. Alright, so here it all is. This is Old Town Road Orchestral Remix Edition. And so yeah, I guess I'll just go through all the different parts, show you the little individual little sections that we have. For the ones that I showed in the map, I have to open that back up again, oops. Yeah, and I'll just show you all those, each part at a time, breaking down what I did, what instruments I used, little methods or whatever that I have. Part 1, Introduction. So the first thing we have is the violins, doing a short little spiccato, and the violas, which are doing pizzicato, and the two of them together make it both a divine sound, but also kind of, you know, plucky. Aside from that, we also have the cellos and the basses doing just some little support on the bottom, and then up here we have the piccolo doing that little thing right here, that little thing right there, and the flute echoes it right here, and then the harp does a little glissando roll up, but then the piccolo holds this note right here, so that way it like sounds like it, you know, continues on for longer. It fills up the space really. And then we have a spectra sounds, you know, I mentioned that one earlier right here. That's the little spectra sound, which is a nice lovely little transition to the next one, the next little idea right there. So the percussion is following just a simple little taiko hit as acting like as a little kick, and then a snare drum as a proper snare. Part 2, the calm. There we have some, of course, the harp playing the melody, nice, simple, lovely little calm, serene sound, and we have the orchestral chimes kind of accentuating certain parts. This is a very good orchestral remix kind of sound right here, so this is a very useful thing to have, those chimes right there. Pianos are doing the chords. I guess that's really all to say about that. Part 3, the development. So from that you can see the winds really took over doing the melody. There's the piccolo, flute, and then the oboes doing the little secondary part of it. And then we have the clarinets, bassoons, and the low strings doing the, of course, the bass line. And then the violins especially. This is an interesting little thing. They do this these short little runs up the little chords, doing this nice lovely little pattern right here. Very simple, but it's a nice lovely little detail. Part 3, Development Part 2. Okay, so for part 3, we have the flutes doing the little melody thing right there. They're being accompanied by the French horns, as well as nothing else. It's just the flutes and the French horns. That's crazy. And of course we have clarinets, bassoons, trombones even coming in, doing some just lovely little build-up with the chords and stuff like that. And the piccolo is actually doing something pretty interesting. It's doing a little counter melody that I created. Part 5, the drop. So for this section we have like a good lot of the orchestra playing along with the melody. We have the oboes, clarinets, the French horns, trumpets, violins, and the violas all doing that. So that really makes the melody defining. And then we have, of course, a big cluster of the other instruments I don't feel like naming, doing the bass line, stuff that you would expect. But we need a little bit more detail to make it actually somewhat interesting. So I've kind of got inspiration for this technique from John Powell, a very lovely composer. I'll leave the video that I got the kind of idea from in the description, so go to that video and say, "Thank you, John, very epic." I probably already commented that exact thing on that video, but we need more of it, so just go do that. Anyway, this whole thing is just a piccolo running up and down the scale, doing these little things right here. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention was the trumpets actually come in, but the trumpets don't just hop right in, because those are like really loud, high brass instruments. You're gonna hear them if they just decide to randomly jump in. So in the previous development, I forgot to mention this, but they're doing these little crescendo things as they come up. Just short little subtle things, but it all makes sense when it all comes back together. It definitely is a good way of sort of fading into view. So part 6, the breakdown. For this little breakdown, it really drops down in terms of its intensity right here, just so we can have just enough build up for that next drop, which will be really epic. But right here we have the harp playing the nice little chill melody right here, but more notably we have a guitar right here, which if you don't know, there's a little line up here which says "spent a lot of money on my brand new guitar," so I just had to include a guitar right here. It'd be sin not to. So we have that doing some of the melody, accompanying the harp doing that, but it's also doing the little chords right here, which give it a nice lovely little country vibe to it. And then of course, when it wants to, we're gonna go pretty quickly in terms of our build up, because we don't have that much more time left for the build up. So the harp just gets in that little glissando and takes us right back to a more, woodwind focused orchestra. We have the piccolo, the flutes, and the oboes, clarinets, bassoons, all of them coming back until we move on to the next one. Part 7, the return. So after the woodwinds do their little section, all the attention shifts to the guitar continues doing their little thing, becoming a little bit more intense with its chords right here. Anyway, we switch over to the strings, and I think like that complete shift in terms of our orchestration and allowing the strings to come back later makes it like a perfect build up for whatever this is. So we have the strings doing that, violins, violas, you get the deal, doing the first little bits of this little half measure, I guess, and then the remainder of the winds come back, but the piccolo stays on hold so that it can come back at this little area and just sort of, completely blow everyone away before eventually returning back to the biggest drop ever. Part 8, the drop. For the secondary drop, it's pretty much nearly the same exact thing as the original drop, so I don't want to talk too much about it, except it's lacking the trumpet. As you can see, the little trumpet is completely gone right here, and instead the trombones are playing the melody along with all the other stuff. And this is so that, it's kind of similar to the previous drop, but it's kind of lacking a certain spirit, so that way when the drop returns, and it's eventually played by the French horns, much higher, is definitely a whole lot more interesting. And aside from that, it's pretty much exactly the same. I mean, part 9 again. For this, we're pretty much just redoing everything we did, but moving some things an octave higher, redoing just a small couple of other things. You know, despite it sounding really different, it's pretty much the exact same thing with just some very slight modifications. So the first thing we did was the flutes. Instead of doing these typical little run things they normally do, instead they shift over and start doing some of the melody. And this is just because, why not? And aside from that, we also have the French horns, which of course come back and continue with doing some of the melody right here. Originally they were just doing these simple little notes right here, but now they come back and do the melody. Trombones went from doing the melody to now just some chords to just, you know, continue to support it. And the tuba is literally the same exact thing. They just become a bit more dynamic. And I guess I can show you the percussion for this area. This Heiko doing dun, 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 dun. Just doing that on repeat over and over again, right? We have plenty of bass drums, snares, cymbals doing their little weird details. Part 10, conch. Okay, so the conch, or the what do I call it? The conclusion is pretty much the same exact thing as the introduction, but with a little bit more spice, right? So if we have the piccolo and the flutes doing something different, so it's, you know, it's not completely boring, right? But we have the real key of this is the percussion. They really continue with the same kind of intensity as they did with the main drop, so that way it has kind of the same continuing energy, but it's not complete overload. And with that, we are done. Alright, now before you leave, I have a special offer for you, alright? If you leave a like on this video right here, right, I will give you a lifetime supply of Sprite 0. Alright, no joke, no scam at all. If you leave a like, and if you subscribe, you'll get 2 lifetime things of Sprite 0. Okay, that's a great offer for a great price. All you have to do is just like the video or subscribe if you're feeling generous. But aside from that, I hope you enjoyed, maybe learned something, you know, because we're all about the education here on the channel. But yeah, I guess that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later, lads. Bye.